Our top international story, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is officially back at work. This is after recovering from COVID-19. Now, giving his first address since resuming his duties, Johnson warned about easing lockdown restrictions too soon. The UK has over 152,000 cases and more than 20,000 people have died. Let's get the latest from our UK correspondent, Ollie Barrett, live from London. So, Ollie, Boris Johnson back at work, and he's already cautious about the UK easing restrictions like other European countries.
Very much so. The UK has its lockdown in place till early May, but of course there have been lots of calls on the government before then to start setting out exactly how and when it might try and ease lockdown here in Britain. But Boris Johnson insisting it's too early to do that yet. One advantage the UK might have in all of this is that it is a couple of weeks or so behind some of those other European countries you mentioned in terms of the trajectory of the outbreak, so it will be able to watch the way that Italy, Spain, France, Germany start to unwind their lockdown measures and see how that works and try and learn some lessons from it. But yeah, for now, Boris Johnson believes it's too early.
This is the moment of opportunity. This is the moment when we can press home our advantage. It is also the moment of maximum risk, because I know there will be many people looking now at our apparent success and beginning to wonder whether now is the time to go easy on those social distancing measures. And I know how hard and how stressful it has been to give up, even temporarily, those ancient and basic freedoms: not seeing friends, not seeing loved ones, working from home, managing the kids, worrying about your job and your firm. And I ask you to contain your impatience, because I believe we are coming now to the end of the first phase of this conflict. And in spite of all the suffering, we have so nearly succeeded.
So Johnson also acknowledging the damage to the economy, but he's optimistic it will recover after the lockdown.
That's right. He does have that cautious optimism about the UK's economic resilience and in the entrepreneurship that Britons demonstrate as well. He has stressed that in many speeches since becoming Prime Minister and beforehand as well. So he does have that faith that the economy will bounce back, despite what is a pretty grim state of affairs for the UK economy. We've just had, by the way, the Finance Minister on his feet in the House of Commons saying that data suggests that as many as a quarter of all firms have stopped trading at the moment because of the coronavirus outbreak. But yes, Boris Johnson does believe when it comes to it, the British economy will bounce back.
So let me say directly also to British business, to the shopkeepers, to the entrepreneurs, to the hospitality sector, to everyone on whom our economy depends. I understand your impatience. I share your anxiety. And I know that without our private sector, without the drive and commitment of the wealth creators of this country, there will be no economy to speak of. There will be no cash to pay for our public services, no way of funding our NHS. And yes, I can see the long-term consequences of lockdown as clearly as anyone. And so, yes, I entirely share your urgency. It's the government's urgency. And yet we must also recognise the risk of a second spike, the risk of losing control of that virus and letting the reproduction rate go back over 1.
So, Ollie, is the UK seeing a drop in the infection rate? What are the numbers looking like there?
Yes, certainly the trajectory appears to be going in the right direction. We've had several days now of encouraging numbers. Yes, there are still very depressing numbers of people dying over every 24-hour period, and government ministers continue to pay tribute to them and say that every one of those numbers is a person with a family and loved ones. But they are going in the right direction. The trend is down for deaths over those 24-hour periods. We're also seeing hospital admissions falling. We've seen them falling pretty consistently in London for a week or so now. Certainly there has been no breaching of intensive care capacity in terms of beds up and down the country either. So the NHS is holding up. The numbers are going in the right direction. It does look like the peak has passed in the UK. What the government is really worried about, though, is that if people relax when it comes to those social distancing measures, we could see that second peak.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Our UK correspondent, Ollie Barrett.